Social media owners, politicians, and governments are listed as the biggest threats to a trustworthy online news environment, according to an expert group studying misinformation. This group, called the International Panel on the Information Environment (IPI), has modeled its work on the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The IP's recent report highlighted that the owners of social media platforms topped the survey of concerns, followed closely by both domestic and foreign governments and politicians. Philip Howard, the co-founder of IPI and a professor of Internet Studies at the University of Oxford, emphasized that the global information environment is at a critical juncture. One of the most pressing concerns highlighted by our survey is the influence of social media platform owners. Their control over content distribution and moderation policies significantly impacts the quality and integrity of information. The unchecked power of these entities poses a grave risk to the health of our global information environment, he said. The report indicated that social media platforms have the ability to shape public opinion by amplifying certain voices while suppressing others. This influence is not necessarily exercised openly or transparently, leading to a growing mistrust among the public. Users are often unaware of the algorithms that control what they see on their feeds, making it difficult for them to identify biased or manipulated content. Furthermore, domestic and foreign governments use social media to disseminate propaganda and misinformation, exacerbating the situation. Politicians, on the other hand, can exploit these platforms to spread information that serves their agendas, regardless of its veracity. The combination of these factors has led to what many experts refer to as an information crisis. The IP study calls for greater accountability and transparency from social media companies. It also recommends stronger regulations to curb the spread of misinformation and protect the integrity of the digital information landscape. Howard urged policymakers, technology companies, and civil society organizations to work together for a more trustworthy information environment. Dr. Emily Howard stood at the podium, her gaze sweeping over the expansive audience that had gathered at the conference. A notable researcher in the field of digital communications, her words carried significant weight. Today, she was here to present findings from a comprehensive report based on responses from 412 academic researchers. These researchers hailed from diverse disciplines such as social sciences, humanities, and computer sciences. Their inputs were concentrated mainly in the US and Western Europe, though nations like China, India, Nigeria, and Brazil were also represented. A hush fell over the room as she began to speak. Our study has deeply examined the concept of the information environment, which encompasses the organizations, content, and people that curate the daily news diet consumed by millions, Dr. Howard explained. Notably, the report did not single out specific tech platform owners, but Dr. Howard wasn't about to shy away from the elephant in the room. Elon Musk's recent acquisition of X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, has raised several red flags, she stated firmly. There have been alarming reports of Musk excessively promoting his own tweets. Similarly, Frances Haugen, the whistleblower from Mark Zuckerberg's Meta, claimed that Facebook and Instagram are deprioritizing the moderation of non-English language content. Dr. Howard paused, letting the gravity of the information sink in. And then there's TikTok, she continued. Though its CEO, Shou Chu, has publicly declared that ByteDance is not an agent of China or any other country, lawmakers on both sides of the Atlantic worry about its susceptibility to Chinese government influence. The atmosphere in the room grew tense. She knew many present had similar concerns about the platforms they use daily. Meta asserts they review content in over 70 languages, and we have approached X for comments, awaiting their response. As her presentation concluded, the most startling revelation was yet to come. According to our survey, about 2/3 of respondents expect the information environment to deteriorate in the coming years, compared to just over half in the previous survey. The weight of her words hung heavily in the air. The IPIE, which we launched last year as a non-governmental organization, has consistently warned that biased algorithms, manipulation, and misinformation are a global and existential threat. When she finally stepped down, the applause was thunderous, though the room was charged with a palpable sense of urgency. The findings had cast a spotlight on an issue that would not easily recede into the background. A recent report has highlighted the rising trend of politicians leveraging conspiracy theories and misinformation for political gain, resulting in a pronounced decline in trust toward reliable sources and democratic institutions. This erosion is amplified by the pervasive influence of AI-generated content. Over 60% of surveyed experts indicated that AI-fabricated videos, voices, images, and text negatively impact the information environment, with the same majority asserting that these tools intensify the misinformation dilemma. According to the findings, generative AI technologies have unlocked unprecedented avenues for creating propaganda on a massive scale. Video content generated by AI emerges as the primary concern, trailed by AI-manipulated voice recordings. The survey reveals a geographical discrepancy. Experts in developing countries express greater apprehension about the detrimental effects of generative AI compared to their counterparts in developed nations. Despite the overarching worries, there's a silver lining. Many respondents maintain cautious optimism regarding AI's potential benefits, particularly in enhancing the detection of misleading content and assisting journalists in navigating extensive data repositories. The panel's insights draw from the perspectives of 412 academic researchers across disciplines such as social sciences, humanities, and computer sciences. To combat the issues underscored in the report, experts advocate for the bolstering of a free and autonomous press, rolling out initiatives aimed at improving digital literacy, promoting fact-checking practices, and labeling deceptive content.